was probably the most amazing experience I had was, again, this internal experience. I had these dreams.
When it collapses, its internal temperature will be so great that the energy emitted.
And they got to prop them up. Europe has an awe-inspiring internal Marshall Plan, it seems like, where they are investing.
Is fundamentally an internal loneliness, a loneliness of the heart and mind.
In somebody's internal development even, when they really do.
And so they have this internal catalog of...
And having an internal versus an external scorecard, Charlie Munger didn't care what other people...
Almost like his internal consulting team of women. The women developed a lot.
Here as president, listening to the internal constituents, students, faculty.
Your best self, how to become your own coach by making your own internal voice strong enough that you can...
There's the external thing and the internal thing. The external thing is...
Curious about reaction to that, which is in a company, you have these internal job boards or whatever you call them. You've got...
It's still being made largely for internal consumption or for trading purposes.
Some of the chat in their Yammer group, the internal Yammer group, to...
With an electric motor, whereas with a diesel motor or any kind of internal combustion engine car, you've got torque RPM code.
And that expresses itself not only in the development of new work, but internal to our thinking.
Subchapter S of the Internal Revenue Code, and these corporations are dividing, yes, exactly, an internal, and dividing people into... It still had this internal conflict, Mark, where you've got this electoral promise push to get as close to zero.
And then there are internal aspects of the brain. Development can go wrong and lead to conditions like...
Directly internal, probably, to become one of the first 2 women at Yale University.
Officer, and Tony fosters close working relationships with internal and external stakeholders to ensure the sales.
The secret police, the internal security apparatus, which, of course, all of...
You don't, you know, we had a little internal contest recently where we asked people to pitch out ideas.
For us right now, a lot of the sort of internal mantra that we're going with is don't...
Inertia and complexity of the Pentagon to internal conflicts within the executive branch, the partisan abyss in Congress over
smaller. So we're seeing some places that used to share, data very freely, now having their own internal movements towards much more restriction.
Coming up, the first one is kind of for us, being internal, and that's going to be at the...
For internal controls are in fact being followed. In addition, any agency
of significant internal and external partnerships, but it will be worth it. If we don't take advantage of these,
they can have an internal debate on whether Mahmoud Abbas is accepting or rejecting certain things in previous rounds.
A sketch on the bottom left in an internal MIT journal, and together with Ron Drever. They don't give voice to their sense of internal conflict is because they don't know how to talk about
firms. It's all an internal thing where you're
from Twitter and from our internal folks as well.
Hi guys, how's it going?
So what I had was a very small little internal moment. They did not transform my life, but it...
And all of this comes from sort of internal wiring. How do you behave? What are your...
When these issues come up.